The fun continues here in Las Vegas during week 2 of the VPL Preseason Invitational. It's another jam-packed day of exciting Vainglory action, and it starts next.
What does it take to mold a champion? Shape your destiny. Hone your craft. In mobile esports, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Today is where the molding begins, the preseason, where teams have the chance to establish their rhythm as a new 5-player team, try out strategies, and gel as a group in preparation for a historic run for the championship. The VPL Preseason Invitational begins now.
The fun and the 5v5 Vainglory action continues with an exciting slate of North American matches this afternoon. Hammers Esports starts the session taking on Vision Gaming. Then it's Tilt Rehab versus undefeated Slimy Salamanders. And we round out the day between two teams with a little history, Tribe and Rogue. Hello everybody, welcome back inside our temporary VPL studios here in Los Angeles, Nevada. I am Erica Ishii alongside Tissy Bacon and Flash X. Already we've got a great day of games on our EU side, and the region just continues to impress us with their preseason.
Yeah, Europe has looked so strong, especially the teams up at the top. They have been continuing to improve and perform at an incredible rate.
Absolutely. These North American teams starting things off a little bit slower in week 1. Definitely a better understanding of the macro play and how important that is in week 2. Definitely looking forward for more of that here today.
All right, well, Hammers Esports takes on Vision Gaming in our first North American game of the day. We got a little bit of trash talk going on the Twitters.
Yeah, Vision Gaming throwing out a tweet saying today's horoscope in the VPL Preseason Invitational, starting at, of course, 12 PST. Vision destroys Hammers Esports.
Right, but then Hammers fired back.
A little bit of clack back. It's obvious you have trouble with your vision if that's what you're seeing.
Oh,
Burn!
Well, both teams are starting out a little rocky in this season. Any surprises there thus far?
I'm a little surprised that Vision struggled the way that they have, because this was a team that coming into this year looked so strong at the end of 2017. Obviously, very different roster than what we saw in 2017, but I still want to see them be able to step up. This is a team that has the potential to step up and hang with the big boys.
Absolutely. I think both of these teams really have a lot of work cut out for them, starting off slow at 0-2. Here we got the standings for the entirety of North America. Both TSM, Slimy Salamanders, and Tribe are only 3 teams remaining undefeated in North America. Tribe has their hands full with Rogue later on today. Before that, we have Hammers starting things off against Vision. It's a little bit of signs of life against TSM. Definitely very effective at punishing them whenever they got pretty sloppy with their gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, Hammers, they did have a very difficult first week, having to go against both TSM and Tribe in their first week of games. So, you know, take the 0-2 there with a grain of salt. This is a really big opportunity for them to show that they are better than what the standings currently read.
Right, this could be their time to shine today. But last week we got the big news with Maline, and this week we're actually giving you a chance to grab the brand new hero for free. So Maline is not available to the pros until next week, but you don't have to wait to play the dynamic new hero. You can just tweet at us using the hashtag VPL and either light form or shadow form for a chance to win a free download. And of course, you can always just purchase Maline right now in the app and start using her in live gaming today.
Yeah, we've already given away Maline to 3 individuals. Only 1 remaining left today to be receiving that free unlock. But as Erica just mentioned, you can go into the app right now, head into the store, and purchase Maline so you can get onto Sovereign's Rise with the brand new hero.
Such a fun hero to play first. Hero first in Vainglory history. 5 abilities, SCMC. Kudos to them, pushing the skill ceiling ever higher. Maline, pros are going to get our hands on our first taste next weekend. Very much looking forward to that.
So we talked a little bit about Hammers and their chances today. Let's talk a little bit about Vision. How are they doing?
So Vision is this team that there's a lot of unknowns about them coming into this year. Only PvP Warrior returning from their core 3v3 roster of 2017. So really, there's so much for them that needs to be proven still. They had a great game against Slimy Salamanders that they only narrowly lost, but then they came out very, very flat in their second game. And so which of these two teams is going to show up today?
Yeah, they both have huge opportunities to prove that, hey, we might have started off 0-2. That's not necessarily a reflection of what they're actually capable of. Definitely one of them going to be looking to make a big statement.
And so speaking of big statements, do you think we're going to see anything big from this? Are both of them kind of matched up together? What does that look like, the disparity between the two?
It'll be really, we're not really going to be able to know until we get in game, because the North American style, all North American teams as a whole have been changing the way that they're playing from week 1 to week 2. I mean, it's evident just in the average game length. Week 1, average game time in North America was 21 minutes. In week 2 thus far, so through yesterday, the average game time is 15:45, so almost 6 minutes shorter on the average game time for North America. And that's that adaptation to the aggression that we saw out of Europe. So it's, again, which of these teams will adapt to that quicker?
So you were saying the play styles between weeks 1 and 2 have been very different. However, based on what we've seen thus far this week and last week, any predictions for the draft for either team?
So we saw a huge shift in the draft meta yesterday. A lot of the North American teams adapting to the European draft meta, prioritizing those early game captains out of Lyra and Tony especially. They're going to have to do more of that today if they want to continue to be successful.
All right. I think we are ready to toss to the draft now with picks and bans.
Right away, the Lyra going to get taken off the board. Taka actually going to get banned away here as well. So a slight variation to that top 4, and a very kind of surprising first pick, I think, for us is the Samuel getting grabbed right away.
Absolutely. Everyone across the board has definitely prioritized Celeste in that first pick position. Vision not going to hesitate picking that up for themselves, followed up with the Tony. Those two heroes actually have great synergy together. As soon as someone gets taunted, Celeste can drop her core collapse, dish out a ton of damage in rapid succession. No one can run away with that, and definitely something that Vision going to have to make sure that they're positioning well to make sure that they're not getting caught out from.
It is interesting to note, though, that they passed up on the opportunity for the Celeste Kroll combo that we saw a lot in week 1. So again, the changes being made in the draft as we get into week number 2 and the second day of week 2 as well. So there's a lot of changes. The team's changing where they're putting priority, what heroes they want to focus on. We've been seeing this Churnwalker actually pretty frequently thus far today.
Yeah, Churnwalker and Samuel have a ton of synergy. Not only is Samuel innately going to get the AoE damage from his Malice and Verdicts once they're empowered, once Churnwalker starts chaining people up, that AoE damage on top of that is really hard to deal with. Vision Gaming gonna be making sure that they have to find a tanky front line that can find a little bit of peel for Celeste. Great pickup with the Kroll there. Very surprised to see it to get to this far into the draft.
Yeah, I mean, we had been seeing Kroll getting involved in the first bans a lot over in Europe. So the fact that it was lingered this long, Vision's gonna be very happy to pick that one up. It's a question of where it's gonna be played, though. Normally you expect it in the jungle, period, end of story, but PvP Warrior specifically on 3v3, he wasn't afraid to play this Kroll in lane. So that is something that you have to keep in the back of your mind against Vision. It's very likely to end up in the jungle, but just because there is that track record, you do have to keep it in your mind.
Idris, a little bit here and there throughout Europe, but definitely a priority pick as far as North America goes. We saw it played out of the jungle a couple of times yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised to see that again today, but I feel like that's going to struggle a lot going up against a Kroll and a Tony.
Yeah, and it's also with the Grace coming through here, with Churnwalker already being there, that's going to be that weapon Grace, or will it be that hard defense with a Shatterglass Grace that we saw yesterday a couple of times come out from North America? So there's, again, question marks abound in this matchup.
Yeah, Alpha getting banned off the table. That was a very hotly contested pick this morning coming out of the side of Europe. I think that Hammers, they just don't want to give Vision too strong of a front line to be able to peel for that Celeste. Obviously, with Alpha having the 2 lives, that's something that's very hard to deal with. And if you don't have large amounts of damage in a very consolidated point of area, that's very hard to deal with as far as Alpha is concerned.
And Vision. They're going to ban away the Rona, preventing, you know, another bruiser from coming out for our Hammers. They already have their hard carries in the Idris and the Samuel, and so at this point it is just about getting that big front line built up even more than just the Turnwalker and the Grace already are. So the Rona ban away there is specifically just to try and eliminate some of the options that could be available. Black Feather is something that we could see come out, but they are actually going to go for another carry and pick up the Gwen. It's
going to be the Gwen. I think we do see Tribe run it yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, Tribe played the Gwen super well yesterday. Dienzio hitting massive amount of crit damage with that boomstick perk. Definitely something that if she can get in range of Celeste, Gwen obviously one of the smaller ranges as far as range DPSs are concerned. If she can get in range of that Celeste, Celeste is going to have to watch out.
And then an Adagio to round out the composition for Vision, another one of these big protector type heroes. But, you know, again, where is it going to go? Is it going to be a carry Adagio? Is it going to be a captain Adagio and put that Tony into more of a carry type role? That's what I would prefer to see. I would much rather see, because they have the Celeste, I'd much rather see the Adagio in the captain type role, just focusing on keeping allies alive and using those big Versa judgments to get that area control.
Great. Well, now that we have our first picks of the day for North America, let's talk about the players that we need to watch for this game. Flash, you go first.
Has to be Chicken on the side of Hammers Esports. He's on the roster. We haven't seen him play just quite yet, but he's one of those players that has a ton of veteran experience, very gifted as far as mechanics go. We might not be able to see him play today. They might be waiting until the right opportunity to kind of work him in on a consistent basis. But once he steps on to the Sovereign's Rise, that's something that these teams are going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, you mentioned he's been around the block. He's been on multiple professional teams. Has shown that he is a top-tier player. So we'll definitely be looking for when he's going to be out there. But for Vision, I'm going to go back to Pool once again. He was our player to watch yesterday for Vision, and he stepped up in a big way from week 1, but he was also in a different role. And that's one of the things that it's so interesting to me to see that teams are willing to just put their players into different roles as they try and figure out where to go. You know, last week he was playing the Batiste, didn't really have much effect whatsoever on the game. Yesterday he played much better in the captain position, so I would like to see him continue to stay as the captain for the team because he just was a much more impactful player in that role.
He just seemed a lot more comfortable in the captain role as well. He felt a lot more at home. Much better synergy across the board with this team. Unfortunately, they did drop that series, but definitely looking to continue improving today.
So as we mentioned before, both of these teams are looking for their first win. What is going to be key strategy in this game coming up?
Has got to be making sure that they understand macro play and how to translate it into their favor.
All right. The game is on. We're going to toss it over to Humanist and Denomine. Take it.
Well, that's right. We're into the game. We are on the rise. We've got Hammers Esports versus Vision Gaming. Players are making their way out onto the map. Denomine, how you feeling? You were talking about liking the draft coming out of Vision.
Yeah, I do. I really like the combination of the Celeste and the Krull, and then you pair it up together with this Tony who can help lock targets into those kind of choke points with his trash talk. So definitely a lot of potential for Lightning T here on the Celeste to just have that really impactful big AoE damage spikes.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be keeping my eyes on this Celeste. Celeste's been one of the best so far. And you see this kind of group up here in mid. It allows them to rotate over, reading the movements coming out of Hammers over here. A little contest over the Crystal Trant. And it's going to be going the way of Invulnerable. So a nice take there. Pretty easy for the Krull to grab that.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the Dead Man's Rush, you know, instant extra attack there. So he was able to secure that one. Did not go with the Spectral Smite first, though, so not a lot of level 1 fight potential. Was just looking to secure that camp. You know, Starboy down here on the Gwen, going to be going to bot lane. Might have a little bit of a tussle breaking out here.
A little bit of a tussle. Invulnerable, he'll go ahead and get boosted in the brush there. Just another kind of secure on that healing camp. I mean, talk to us about how important is getting this healing camp here early on.
Well, specifically the healing camps provide a huge burst of experience, but Dranami,
are they going to chase him down? They've got him right there. Invulnerable got the Spectral Smite, and easy kill right there. A nice first blood.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to help them force this wave up, and that's going to give PvP Warrior a little bit more of an advantage early on, despite the side of Vision already having both of those buffs.
PvP Warrior is just like one of the best Foxes I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's definitely good, and Lemonade's taking quite a bit of damage here trying to defend this turret. While in the mid lane, Young Jay is getting dropped low by Pool and Lightning T.
Yeah, definitely throwing blows in all these lanes. I mean, why do I feel like the action's not going to slow down in this top lane, though? You got Invulnerable on this Kroll up here, and Eliminate's always going to be looking to get the hook and chains, and PvP Warrior, you know he's always ready to fight, right?
Oh, absolutely, and you know, specifically his Vox in the later stages of the game, we saw in some of the preseason tournaments, you know, a couple weeks ago. Once he gets that complete build, he becomes nearly unkillable. His positioning is absolutely phenomenal, and the just scaling build of the Vox can really be impactful for pretty much all of these carries. Specifically, we need to look at Papa John being the one trying to get damage down onto Lightning T, trying to bully Celeste back as much as possible.
Talk about bullying. Holy Nova, Batman! Lightning T, you gotta get back. Oh, he's got a healing flask. It's okay. He's just baiting it up there. Pulled back, though. A little bit of splash damage coming on through Pull. You gotta get back, bud. He'll tank that up, but Invulnerable moves in, feeling like he can get something done. He's a little late to the party, stunned up. Can they focus him down? He's getting a lot of weakness stacks coming down, but he's just isolated, taken down. Little B Hammer is getting on the board and see if they can do something here.
Yeah, that gives us a 1-for-1. Young Jay and Drunami looking to force the turret up here. Can they find PvP, though?
No, they can't find PvP. PvP's ready to dance. They can't drop that turret aggro either. Pull showed up. We get the taunt back, a little trash talk. Grabs him with the stun. PvP's got this. Another Sonic Zoom forward, one attack. We'll be able to take that. In the meantime, though, the weapon Trant getting taken down.
Yeah, a little bit overcommit there from Young Jay, and that is going to give the kill over to the side of Vision. Meanwhile, Lightning T taking another Crystal Treant out of the Hammer's jungle, but he may get caught out for it as Papa John is looking to rotate around. Can they find the kill?
Well, he has rotated around. Lightning T's going to have to get something magical done. Not going to be enough. PvP Warrior dropped down. They're not able to secure anything, though, and he's not going to be able to get the healing Treant either, unless it's just a godly last hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, Eliminate the one to pick up that crystal buff, so we're not going to get a ton of effect out of that one. But 2-2 right now. Gold fairly even. Vision Gaming, they do have themselves about a 600 gold lead developed, while Invulnerable taking more jungle away here from the side of Hammers.
Yeah, that's a great take. He's deep in the jungle, able to take that gold camp away. Even kind of keeping Papa John zoned out from making a movement towards the lane. There are scout cams down, so they know what's happening. The drop's going to come actually onto Starboy, though, who's completely overextended. He'll turn around, drop that ace as high. But Starboy, all he can do is run to his imminent death. Starboy, it's okay. Your team forgives you. Neon Fire can easily avoid anything coming out there as his team surrounds him there. Gets that easy kill. 5.5 minutes in, 2-3 in favor of Vision.
Yeah, I like Papa John there, recognizing, you know, Starboy's gonna die. Starboy, great play, chasing the enemies into the back part of their jungle. They gave Papa John on the Crystal Idris the time to push that wave up underneath turret, and while he didn't get a lot of damage, we're trying to get this Crystal Idris truly online, where he can be the biggest threat possible. Lightning T on the Celeste, likely to not build any defense, at least until later in the game, makes him very vulnerable to the double pass coming through that chakram, so we'll have to see how Papa John is able to execute on that. Overall, we have a little bit of a level advantage on the side of Vision to go with their gold advantage, so now Lightning T take away some more jungle, accelerating this Celeste to level 8, where she's going to get that additional range on the Heliogenesis and become that much bigger of a threat.
Yeah, that's a super efficient rotation, and I really like to see it right there. Lightning T not only is going to get a little more experience and gold in his pocket as well, he keeps the lane in a nice position for himself, and of course he's going to have now full health. The taunt back, can they follow that up? Silence comes on through right over that Churn Walker, but it's not going to be a big deal. They're underneath that turret there now. Drunami making the first rotation of the game. Drunami's been kind of pinned up in that top lane thus far.
Yeah, meanwhile in the jungle, Papa John and Starboy were able to pick up a kill onto Invulnerable. Now Papa John trying to push some damage onto the turret. Starboy gonna take back some jungle for the team. Clearing that out with Papa John. So fair rotation there coming out of Hammers, you know, capitalizing on what they could, and now Lightning T, he's looking for more. Young Jay sitting a level behind Lightning T at this point, but we do have that Oblivion online now, and that can have a pretty big impact on some of these fights, specifically if you can, you know, get one down before the Crucible comes out.
Lightning T getting a lot more last hits at 41 now to the 27 of Young Jay on that Samuel, so that's a pretty big advantage right now.
Yeah, it definitely is. Young Jay cleaning out his wave. Neonfire down in the bottom lane, his respective top lane is going to go with a very tanky Adagio build. He has that Dragon's Eye, so he'll be able to clear out the wave fairly quickly here, but not a ton of team fight damage. He's just looking to be very tanky.
Is Papa John caught, or is Neonfire caught? Aces High off the mark. The move on in, but that's Papa John going down. Now Starboy, bada boom, into the position he wanted to be.
Yeah,
maybe a knockback that
shy
could have taken him down.
Yeah, just a little bit further, and Poole would have been able to knock him back into the team. But yeah, as I was saying, Neonfire just trying to be tanky, get in the middle of fights. The big impact that this Adagio is going to have is getting that self-heal down, slowing down the enemies, and then getting that big verse of Judgment stun to come down. Ghostwing looking to go over to Vision Gaming right now.
That's going to be the capture up. Lightning T getting the final blow there, and that's going to be a nice pickup for Vision. I mean, they're already doing great this game so far. Net worth advantage, they got a kill advantage, exactly where they want to be. Now level 8 on Lightning T. What do these guys look to do?
Well, they're pretty much just going to keep looking to starve Hammers out at this point. So realistically, you know, Hammers, if they want to turn this game around, they've got to find a pick. They've got to find themselves either some objective or some jungle control. And they really need to work on the Vision as well, because as of right now, Vision, they sit up almost 6,000 gold.
Oh, this is usually a huge turning point. PvP Warrior has Breaking Point, and he's getting a couple Breaking Point stacks right now. It's a 3 versus 4, but you see Hammers getting hammered, moving back, trying to run. PvP's got to drop the turret. Can't do it. The turret drops him. Tsunami stays alive. Eliminate stays alive. Papa John as well, but the turret is low. Can it go down? Lightning Team not connecting with that Helio. Papa John forced back. Eliminate will go down. Just the bad manners. Boomerang coming on through. Feels good, man. But I'm not sure if they got a kill down there in bot as well, but a lot happening here for Vision and just pressuring the entire map.
Yeah, but now here comes Hammers looking to answer back, and Vulnerable taking quite a bit of damage.
Taking a bit of damage, but are they going to chase into this? Because Lightning T can really set up a defensive perimeter around this Cruel that they can fight around and make it very dangerous. Even 2 versus 4 here.
Yeah, and that's one of the devastating things about this particular duo. If you allow the Krull to get onto your backline, not only is he going to start ripping apart those squishy targets, he's also going to lower the damage that they do. Oh, man. Lots of damage coming through on the Young Jay there. This is where the Samuel really struggles, is with his range against the Celeste. Solar Storm not going to land onto the target he wanted.
Invulnerable doing a lot of damage. When he procs that tension bow on the squishy target, you see them just get chunked down right now.
Yeah, and that's what makes the Celeste all the more scary in that back line, is if you're worrying about Krull, Celeste is just raining in those Heliogenesis into your face. It's going to rip apart your team in seconds. And, you know, it's definitely kind of a real tough decision to make, because you either have to commit to the Celeste or you have to kind of pull the Krull backwards, you know, kite and try to build up some stacks here on the Idris, but he's gone with the Shadow Glass first, so looking for raw damage. Doesn't really have that explosive 20 stacks of breaking point potential.
I think it's really cool, and then paired up with the Tony and this kind of a interesting Adagio build coming out of Neonfire, it's a more durable, more tanky kind of build like you're talking about. It controls exactly like how you were describing that the Celeste and the Krull want to interact with the fight.
Right, and keeping enemies locked close together is really what the Celeste wants, and Adagio and Krull and Tony, all 3 of them are very good at dealing with that kind of situation. And meanwhile, we'll have PvP Warrior obviously on the box, not Crystal Power, so he is more single target, but that allows him to pick off anybody that really starts to overextend. He can build up those breaking point stacks, and then once those stacks start to pick up, he can commit very heavily into a fight and really start to chunk out the health of the enemy team as they spread out. So we'll have to be keeping an eye on PvP Warrior. Definitely my player to watch for Vision here, as Hammers, they see the Ghostwing going on. I don't think they're going to be able to get it though.
We'll see what's going to happen here. Hammers, though, taking a lot of damage. They have to at least disengage. But that's going to be picked up by Vision. Now Vision on the chase forward here. It's Papa John trying to dodge out some damage, but just got deleted, erased. It's like they had an instant kill button.
Yeah, it definitely seemed to be the case. Unfortunately, Papa John on the Idris going to be very similar to how Celeste plays. A lot of offense with very low defense, at least for the early portion of the game. And because of the range advantage that Celeste has, she's very safe on the backline. Hammers doesn't really have anybody that they can dive and execute the Celeste with. We have the Grace, but she's also going a more tanky build, kind of just in your face, you know, be annoying kind of build as opposed to actual damage. So Hammers, just because of their draft, are going to struggle at all points of this game to be able to kill Lightning T.
Well, we'll see. The average game time was like 15-something yesterday. We're on track to see that again from Vision. Now, the Torment back, the chase forward. Holy Nova's going to be blocked off. This is the Versa Judgment coming on through. I think it'll find one stun there. As Eliminate looks to reposition back. The Fountains come out, but the Supernova chunking on through Hammers. With pulled down, Vision still hanging around here. They've taken the turret. We'll see if they want to get some work done on that armory as well. Lightning T really kind of flexing on Hammers here. Tsunami will jump in. He's pretty low. Holy Nova not going to connect. As Starboy trying to zone out and apply the damage that his team so desperately needs. Oblivion not quite clipping Lightning T, but he's taking tons of damage as Papa John delivers a kill right there. Neon Fire is going to get lit up as well and go down, putting Hammers much closer to their goal of coming back into this game. Now 7-9, 14 minutes in.
Yeah, and that was a key point there for Hammers potentially coming back. They were able to catch Lightning T, sticking around a little bit longer than he needed to. Hammers got that initial pick on the pool, and as we saw, Lightning T still full health because of that range. But once you start chasing into the enemy's base and you're the only one there, you're basically a frontline Celeste, and that's where Hammers were able to come through off the respawns. They were able to pick up that kill on Celeste. They were able to get a turret as well.
PvP blocks off the stun, trying to get back. PvP Warrior playing with he went in 3 versus 1 there, Denominate.
Yeah, he was trying to defend the turret, but in the end, Hammers were able to get that. Now, it's not the ultimate comeback from Hammers yet. They are still 10,000 gold behind, but it is a little bit of momentum, and that is the key thing for them at this point. Anything they can do to get gold in their pockets is going to be a chance where they can turn around a fight. Papa John has that alternating current online, and that is a big spike here for the Idris.
All right, well, we'll see if this Idris can get some work done. It feels like if he's able to dodge out, very quickly dodge out anything going Supernova, a couple Helios, or getting stunned out, they have a chance to apply damage if he can get onto the Celeste, or get that damage applied to the Celeste, but it's been really hard thus far.
Yeah, it has. The front line coming out of Vision is just so strong and so incredibly punishing that it's really difficult for Hammers to actually contest it. But here we go, we got a fight breaking out.
Tsunami moves in like a tsunami. It's not going to be the initiation they're looking for, though. Hey, is it all a distraction from Vision Gaming? Look up here. Invulnerable. He's looking to take Black Claw up here, and he's probably going to get this. I don't think Hammers have any vision up there. No, they don't. They're totally just focused on Vision down around the bottom side of this map, and it's definitely going to blow up in their face pretty soon here.
Yeah, definitely is looking like that. Now we see the rest of Vision rotating up to help their Kroll, who's already had that Blackwing down, or Black Claw down to half health. And now that it is, and with the injured mid lane of Hammers already, I mean, looking at that armory, it's already taken about half of its health. So with the Black Claw marching, and with the lead that the side of Vision have, they are definitely looking comfortable for this one.
Ward Treads used, Tsunami initiated upon and taken down Lightning T, boosting forward on that magic broomstick to take down Starboy. Who's next? Looks like Eliminate could be next. No, it's Papa John. They'll take a slice of that nice little kill. I don't know, whatever, Denominate. It's gonna be game going to Vision Gaming. Triple kill coming out at the end. 14-7, a dominating performance here.
Yeah, and it looks like the stars aligned here for Vision Gaming today. Their tweet ended up being accurate. At all points of that game, it really felt like Vision was in control, and they close it out in just 16, almost 17 minutes.
That was a thing of beauty. Gotta be careful giving PvP Warrior that Fox. Lightning T looked great on the Celeste. Any other key points from you?
Not really. Just the draft really came down to a lot of it for me, and then the rotations coming out of Vision, just stealing away the jungle as much as possible, got them an edge early on.
I did get that edge early on. Well, I was actually really impressed in this matchup. Didn't feel like Starboy really came online.
Well, sorry to Hammers, but it looks like there's nothing wrong with Vision's vision. Their horoscope was correct today. Wow, guys, what do we think of that game?
Yeah, very impressed with Vision, the way that they were able to close this one out. Again, that decisive finishing that we're starting to see really across the board from all teams, not just over in Europe now. The early game was very close. Hammers were trying to stick in it, but like you heard Human to say at the end there, Starboy just never really got going.
Yeah, Vision, very good vision control. Definitely as soon as that Black Claw spawned, they set it up all around that area. They knew, okay, 15 minutes, Black Claw's up. Let's get the vision control. They already had the gold lead advantage. They took Black Claw, closed out the game perfectly.
Well, let's look at the highlight from that.
Definitely going to be the dancing heads.
It's us. Okay, if you were watching for the EU broadcast, it looks like the team got us again.
Oh boy.
Are you guys sure you don't want to join me?
Yeah.
No?
I'll give you this much.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's not as much as I get. That's not as far as I go.
I'll take it. Awesome. But I think we actually have what really happened in the game if we want to go to that highlight. All right, here we go.
All right. For real this time, yeah. So I had the Black Claw. Junami, doing what he can, he had to use that Divine Intervention in order to keep his carrier alive. Unfortunately, once he went down, that huge tanky front line that leaves his back line very, very vulnerable. And just the range coming out of Celeste and Cruel in front of her, so hard to deal with. I think Hammers might think twice about giving over that combo again.
Yeah, I mean, Vision were able to use it so effectively to just isolate targets. You know, get someone split up from the rest of the team and then immediately jump onto them with everyone else from their squad and take them out of the team fights, just using those numbers advantages in their favor.
All right, good game to both teams. But in case you missed it yesterday, we've been having a little bit of fun because we have a green screen set here in our temp studio. You know, so we were messing around and being other places like jail. I'm sure.
I like that this one still has green behind it too. Like it's
right,
like we're in jail
be
in front of a green
and
screen.
cast
Like,
from jail.
Like I want to see them put like the space scene like behind the jail cell.
Yeah. We can be anywhere we want in that jail cell. But all kidding aside, we are actually really excited for the brand new studios that we're going to be in for the start of the Vainglory regular season. Let's take a look.
Vainglory Competitive Gaming has a new home in Las Vegas, the Aria Resort and Casino. The PokerGo studio, in partnership with ESP Gaming, the name behind the Vainglory Premier League. A state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar showplace, streaming lounge, and the most advanced tech to bring you mobile esports like never before. Welcome to the new home for the Vainglory Premier League.
All right, well, let's dive into our next game of the day. It's Tilt Rehab taking on the undefeated Slimy Salamanders. Now, both teams played in marathon matches last weekend. Do we expect a similar game flow today?
I do not expect to see a similar game there because everyone has been trying to get those game times down. Touched on a little bit earlier, the average game time in week 1 was a little over 21 minutes. In week 2 thus far, it has been around 15 to 16 minutes, so a marked decrease in average game time here in North America.
Have we had any games longer than 20 minutes so far?
Not this weekend.
Yeah, so teams definitely executing their macro much better. Rogue taking on Slimy Salamanders there. Slimy, very good execution. They need to tighten it up a little bit in making sure that they are playing the macro correctly, taking those objectives, and not being scared to press that advantage whenever they do have it.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, again, the marathon matches were very back and forth, a lot of sloppy play from both sides, but this is now their chance to kind of show that they have cleaned up their game, that they have become more decisive and are able to make those decisions.
Right, they've tightened it up a lot more this weekend. And speaking of which, were we surprised about Slimy's win over Rogue yesterday.
I definitely think that was a huge toss-up. Could have gone either way. Slimy, the really good execution, especially in those late game team fights that I think gave them the upper hand.
I was very surprised by that win. I thought Rogue, going into that game, I had Rogue as the upper hand. They looked like the stronger team coming in. They looked like the stronger team based on last year's performances as well. So when they fell, and it was the fact that it was so decisive. It wasn't really a close game. That was what really surprised me.
Okay, so we're in the draft right now, so let's go over to the picks and bans. What do we got?
And so for Tilt Rehab, they're going to be taking the Kestrel off. I don't think anyone's going to let Slimy Salamanders get this Kestrel pick again.
Yeah,
because that was Arexoro's best pick by a long shot. He was so dominant.
That definitely seems to be a trend, especially here in North America. The respect bans keeping Kestrel out of the hands out of some of these top Kestrel players. Not too surprising because she is so strong in this current meta. Slimy Salamanders answering with the Tony ban as well. No surprises there. Idris with the first pick, though. That's a little bit different.
That's definitely a little different. It's one of those heroes that we usually see later in the draft because there are clear counters to it. You know, a Catherine can deal with an Idris very effectively. You can use a lot of other heroes that can, you know, just get onto this Idris and prevent him from being able to use his mobility. You know, a Batiste is another pretty solid counter to the Idris. So it's very surprising to see it first picked. But thus far, Slimy Salamanders, they're sticking to their guns. They're not drafting to counter pick right now. They are just focusing on what they feel is the strongest.
Definitely, and they got the Samuel to pair with the Lyra. Super strong duo, very good at kiting. I actually kind of like that they didn't just immediately grab the Celeste, especially Celeste and the Idris, because she's not as mobile as what a Samuel would be. Samuel's going to be able to use the very slight dash that he has out of those mouse and verdicts to try and get away from those chakrams, which I think is going to be really helpful.
Not only that, but Samuel's sustain when he's inside of a drifting dark, throwing out those mouse and verdicts, the lifesteal that he's getting off of the spells is just massive in a fight, especially if you have someone trying to dive onto you. Put a little bit of distance and heal yourself back up.
Absolutely. The Grace there to facilitate Idris for whenever he does decide to go in and dive with that ultimate ability. Taka and Gwen coming off the board as well. Very surprised how much priority North America is putting onto this Gwen pick, even though Tribe did make it work. I'm not necessarily sold on it being the best pick in the meta. Krull, on the other hand, definitely one of the best picks in the meta.
Yeah, I feel like the Gwen is a solid pick that you can grab like late in the draft if you need that carry, but to put it on a ban is a little strange to me. I don't feel like it's a pick that is worthy of a ban. Like you mentioned, the Krull going to be grabbed there by Slimy Salamanders, another one of these strong picks that can make plays early on, put pressure into the lanes, especially up against an Idris. You know, where Idris takes a little bit to ramp up, especially if you're going down that crystal route. You can just really punish the Idris in lane very, very heavily.
Tilt Rehab following things up with the Adagio, and now a Celeste pick. I don't know how she's getting this far into the draft. It's honestly really is amazing. I'm assuming that Slimy Salamanders just doesn't, or I'm assuming Slimy Salamanders does have a game plan in order to get onto the Celeste in the back line.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be, like you said, the Celeste getting through late into the draft. Very, very surprising. It's happened twice now where it's been picked in like this third or fourth slot. So just I don't know. It feels like it's still the strongest hero in the mid lane. It's been used to great effect over in Europe. It's been prioritized in Europe. It's been prioritized by a lot of other teams. But all of a sudden here in North America today, it's been dropping down deeper into the draft. Vox actually also getting through. We've seen a lot of bans being put onto Vox as well, so he's another one of these heroes that gets really heavily contested once we're later into the draft.
Absolutely. He's one of those heroes that can counter, especially all the healing coming out of Adagio in the Grace. He picks up that Poison Shiv and absolutely cuts it down very, very quickly, and now that he has this front line of Krull and Lyra to play behind, that's going to make it very easy for him to maneuver around these team fights, get those breaking point stacks, and just make sure that as these team fights, if they aren't ended quickly, he's going to be super stacked up and hitting very hard towards the end of them.
And now where are they going to go for the final pick? Because you figure they want another bruiser. They really only have Krull as a strong frontliner. I would expect something else that has that frontline potential. Rona is going to be the pick. I was going to say Rona or Grumpjaw perhaps could have been a choice, but having Krull and Rona on the same team is not something we see very frequently.
The built-in mortal wound out of Rona, I really like that as well. I think that that counters the Adagio and the Grace very effectively.
So we had some surprises in both the picks and the bans, but now that those are in, which players are we looking at this game? Tasty, start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking for, on the side of Tilt Rehab, I want to keep my eyes on Esme. He has been one of these players that, you know, he's been kind of up and down in the games that they've looked better on. He's looked better when he doesn't look very strong. The team just kind of gets rolled. So I really want to see him be that more consistent sort of rock that the team can kind of rely on, you know, being the strong player, especially when you have that sort of consistency, that stability in one of your roles, you can build the rest of the team around it.
Absolutely, and I think Esme has a huge potential to be one of those breakout stars for 2018 in 5v5 on the Sovereign's Rise. He has great fundamental mechanics, and as long as he can find the synergy with his team, continue to expand his hero pool, I really think we might see big things out of him later on this year. On the flip side of the coin, on the side of Slimy Salamanders, Status, absolutely powerhouse jungler on the Halcyon Fold, now on the Sovereign's Rise. He took a little bit of a break from competitive play. He did not start off slow in 5v5, picking up a ton of kills. Super comfortable on this Krull, finding great ganks, great engages. That from Hell's Heart on Adagio, phenomenal.
Yeah, he kind of took over that game yesterday against Rogue. It was really, he was the one making a lot of these plays happen across the map. So the fact that he's got that comfort pick once again could be something that's very, very scary for the side of Tilt Rehab to deal with.
All right, the game is underway, so we're actually going to go over to Humanist and Denominate. Take it away.
Wow, what a delicious analysis by our panel. And that's right, we're into the second match of the day for North America. We got Tilt Rehab versus the Slimy Salamanders. Denominate, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great on this wonderful Sunday here, Humanists. Finally warming up here in Michigan. I think it's like 63 degrees outside, so that's,
oh my goodness,
that's nice. It was like 40 and snowing all last week.
Basically summer.
It's basically getting there, so that's pretty exciting. But we're here to watch some Vainglory. Obviously, Slimy Salamanders up against Tilt Rehab. And I think Flash made a great point, is Esme really might be one of those players to watch where he can really make or break this team. So keep your eyes on Esme here on the Adagio for this game.
It's a lot of pressure to live up to. What's that do to the mentality of a player?
Hopefully it hypes him up, knowing that, you know, the analysts think very highly of him. So, you know, hopefully we'll see some good plays out of Esme here today. Obviously up against the Slimy Salamanders, who had a fantastic performance yesterday. Status on that Idris absolutely destroyed the opposition, and got a little bit of a fight breaking out over the Crystal Treant here.
A little bit of a cat fight happening here. And the fight will continue. It looks like Maokai might be the first to go down. No, jumps back in. Xenotech could be left for dead. In fact, Xenotech's going to be going down. That's going to be the first blood. Let's see if they can look for more. Iraqi Zoro trying to getting a lot of damage down. Popping that flask at the last second. Now Tilt Rehab getting on the board first.
Yeah, first kill going over to Jazzville, and that is honestly the best target they could have possibly got that on. Obviously, Celeste loves to get to that late game phase, especially, you know, even just hitting that level 8. So getting that a little additional gold and little additional experience is definitely helpful for them. In fact, got that Crystal Treant buff as well. So Jazzville's sitting in a great, comfortable place right now, and Xenotech is going to have a very massive mid-game spike, and that's where we're really going to start to see him abuse some of those rotations, as well as Status, you know, getting himself a weapon power buff and making those ganks happen. That's really what's going to accelerate Salamanders in this game.
Well, I always enjoy a massive mid-game spike myself to dominate, but how will we know that Xenotech has reached that point?
It'll happen specifically once he hits level 6 and has that Serpent's Mask online. That's where Rona really starts to tank up on that front line. The Red Mist, while it does heal from the Serpent's Mask, it also gives you that fortified health, so enemies are dealing less damage to you too. So that's definitely beneficial for the Rona. Archaic, he's got his 5 crystal bits. That means he has his ranged attacks on. They are a little bit weaker than they were when he came out. And then obviously we're still in 3.1, so they haven't been nerfed down a little bit further, but you know, still a very comfortable pick. And just coming out of the jungle, he doesn't have to commit that early gold to that to the Book of Eulogies, so he can go straight into those 5 crystal bits and can start making those lane rotations as we see him pushing Xenotech back behind the turret right now.
Excellent breakdown. I think that makes a lot of sense. And in the meantime, yeah, Salamander's invading the jungle, getting a small net worth advantage, kind of abusing status on this Kroll. And as they rotate around thus far, Tilt Rehab not really looking to match that force.
No, they're not. And I do want to point out that despite that very, very strong early game coming out of Tilt Rehab, thanks to the rotations through the jungle coming out of the Salamanders, they maintain a gold lead at this stage of the game. But Xenotech's got to defend this bottom turret right now.
Well, Xenotech's going to do his best, but level 3 Rona, that's not the mid-game power spike we're talking about. This is too early, too much pressure, and Wrecked forced to come down here and play a little bit of a babysitting game.
Yeah, but they can afford to do that because right now Iraqi Zoro has the mid lane pushed, and that's something that Slimy Salamanders has gotten much, much better at since some of the earlier tournaments that we saw of 5v5. You know, we didn't see as aggressive rotations coming out of them. I think they've really worked together and put the time and dedication into practicing together, and it's really benefited them looking at them coming in here to the VPL preseason. So very excited to see them doing well, and you know, possibly in the top 3 teams, I would even be willing to say.
Yeah, dude, I want to hear your breakdown of the top teams.
I think right now it's probably the top 2 are between Tribe and TSM. TSM historically so far has won out in 5v5, but I think, you know, so far we've really only seen best of ones. So, you know, there's realistically could go either way in the long run. River shops are now online. This is going to start to give those side laners a little bit more opportunity to shop without having to recall all the way back to base. Important to make note, though, of what side the shops are on. So Wrecked and Xenotech have the favor in bottom lane, but then looking at the top lane, it's obviously going to be Maokai and the jungler are going to have their side rotation there.
Well, you said Wrecked and Xenotech have the favor, but well, actually, it was Tilt Rehab that zoned them from the shop. They haven't been able to shop yet, but status has moved down. They have the vision. That's going to be from Hellsart connecting onto Archaic. Now he gets back. A little bit of damage coming out as the verse connects onto Status. Has Status gone too far? He's pretty low. They look to turn it around. Status able to retreat back. We'll get him powered up one more time. A lot of damage being traded on both sides, but juggled well thus far. Jazzville finally making his way down to the party. Only level 5 at this point. And seems like everybody's going to be able to get out of here. Rex and Xenotech still haven't been able to shop yet.
No, they haven't, and it was a great rotation coming out of Tilt Rehab. That's actually going to get them the bottom turret as well. Esme, although they did not pick up a kill in that last fight, was having an absolutely massive impact on that fight. That Poison Shiv first item gives him that attack speed, able to buff himself. He stunned up Kroll underneath the chakram, so double pass came through, and then was able to chase down the enemies. Again, not able to get the kill, but also reducing the healing that Lyra was able to put out. So Esme doing a great job so far this game.
Great job thus far, and one of my favorite builds to watch. I love to see that weapon Adagio kind of come to fruition.
Sorry, I missed that. Humans, what was that?
Oh, it's just one of my favorite builds, the weapon Adagio. Now, Esme taking a lot of damage. Xenotech saw him moving into the brush. Couple more right click, just auto attacks, and he'll go down.
Xenotech able to pick up that kill. He does have the turret on his side down. Not quite level 6 either, but he has the gold in pocket to pick up the Serpent's Mask. So we'll have to see when he does go ahead and get that. Nixie up in the top with status, and Wrecked were able to push down that top turret. So 1 for 1 on objectives right now. Still a slight gold lead on the side of the Salamanders. Xenotech likely going to hit the shop up after this treant here, get his Serpent's Mask, or he might yeah, nobody's gonna beat him up there. So he's level 6. He's got his Serpent's Mask. This is where he starts to get into that mid-game spike. I do feel like it's a little bit later than we'd like to see, but he's got it there. He can start building some defense, and he really just wants to be the front line so that Iraqi Zoro can A, throw in those Empowered Malice and Verdicts, and B, Mixi can start to get into his portion of the build, get into the breaking point, start to scale up, and really start to be the hyper carry.
Mixi ready to become that hyper carry. He's already here. He's already joined the party, throwing the weight for it. Nothing will come of it. Now, down towards bottom side, interesting movement. Maokai jumping in onto Xeno. Xeno really not threatened, but I guess kind of just an aggressive maneuver out of Maokai, just kind of flexing on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we got a rotation coming down from the Salamanders. This might be our first real big team fight if they end up going for it. Ali Peterson and Jazzville are quite low, though, so might be a little bit risky of a call. The Celeste basically had no opposition last game in the Hammers versus Vision matchup. That's not the case this game.
Ali Peterson taking tons of damage. Will go ahead and blow that fountain early in this fight. Rekt holding his, and it looks like the Salamanders have advantage, but the Gauntlet comes down, splits the fight. The Verse will connect as well. Huge stuns inside a choke point. Esme drops Xenotech on the other side. It's the Salamanders that have lost too. Ali Peterson stays alive on a sliver of health, giving that Vanguard slingshotting teammates forward. Mixi and Rekt trying to kite backwards. Iraqi trying to apply damage with the Malice Verdicts. Mixi, has he been caught? That's okay, Maokai is going to drop off of that. It looked like this could be the end of that fight. It looked like there was going to be more kills off the back of that one.
Yeah, it looked to be the case, and while that fight very early on looked like it was going to the Salamanders, a beautiful gauntlet coming through out of Ali Peterson, stunning up 3 targets on the side of Salamanders, allowed Esme to get that Verse of Judgment off, which resulted in another team-wide stun, and that's where the side of Tilt Rehab really started to take over control of that fight.
Wrecked with the port in. Xenotech trying to follow up with the Red Mist. That was a very aggressive portal in by Wrecked.
Yeah, it was, and unfortunately they weren't able to make anything out of it, and now Xenotech's got to be very careful as Rehab's down here ready to go.
Xenotech's not going to be careful. Look at that. He jumps forward. Why be careful? You're No, Xenotech!
That's why.
He went down. Okay, I got it.
That's why.
you need to be the voice of reason for him to nominate. Ali Peterson taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Archaic's at a strong point in his build right now. The Shatterglass First, again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. While it doesn't provide that scaling 20 Dragon's Eye stack madness, it is a lot of upfront burst, and it does a lot of damage on your basic attacks as well with that Crystal Divergent Path unlocked. So you've got to be careful with Archaic.
Stun's gonna land onto Esme. Ghost Swing captured by Tilt Rehab as the Salamanders are gonna look to get something done here. Status wants to get in position, but he looks incredibly slow. Get in that Arcane Passage, your team's going, bud. Wrecked was ready to chase. Raki Zoro gets just shredded with a Solar Storm. Put down. Jazzville happy about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to help keep some health on the turret here for the side of Tilt Rehab. They don't really have a wave, though, that they can counter push at this point either. With that one Captain mini here, it does look like Celeste just going to go ahead and recall. Probably going into the Spellfire second, and then going into the Clockwork third item here on Celeste is what it appears to be. Esme still only got that Poison Shiv realistically for damage. He does have the Blazing Salvo as well, and then the Weapon Blade. Not quite into a breaking point yet, though, so we'll have to see where he goes with that build. Ali Peterson has the Crucible complete, and that's going to be a key component for blocking out that Oblivion coming out of Iraqi Zoro. So,
breaking point picked up.
Yeah, breaking point now picked up by Esme.
Breaking point picked up. He moves in. Immediately starts to go to work onto Wrecked. Wrecked with the Bulwark down. They're going to look to negate some of the damage coming out, but turret just popped as Tilt Rehab group up here and apply pressure in this mid lane. Let's see what the answer is going to be from the Salamanders.
Now, the answer from the Salamanders right now is probably just farm up and get your builds a little bit further online. Jazzville and Archaic are both at a very scary point in their build with a 2-item spike as well as an infusion in pocket. Same with Esme. So if a team fight breaks out here, by all means, Tilt Rehab, they have the build advantage for this one.
Slimy little Salamanders able to quickly take a turret of their own. Now, Esme's going to go ahead and push this. This is a 5 versus 4. Wait for it, comes out, but not quite landing the way they would have liked. Now, Status isolated from the fight, and so is the Celeste. Now, Status making the rotation around. Divine Intervention keeping Jazzville alive, but not long enough. Maokai jumps in, Ali Peterson as well, but Ali goes down, and suddenly they're going to lose Archaic as well. A complete disaster as the Salamanders just cannot be taken down. Esme will continue to shove down that bottom lane, has got the turret, and is now onto the armory. Actually doing pretty good work there. 3 Salamanders in mid lane still haven't taken down the base turret. Esme is single-handedly winning this race. What just an intelligent decision.
Yeah, here comes Xenotech, though, and that armory, is it gonna live? No, that minion's gonna die and it's gonna go.
Done. Look at the calculations made by this Adagio, and now the Salamanders are in trouble. They gotta get out of here. The Solar Storm tears on through Iraqi. Mixi should be able to get himself out of here with the Sonic Zooms, and Rex will pull up for a port back. Woo! This one, a little bit back and forth.
Yeah, I think Salamanders made a really good call there, going for the turrets and then picking up the fight off the back of it, obviously. Stayed a little bit too long at the end of it, though. Meanwhile, it was a 4v5 there in the mid lane. As you mentioned, Esme single-handedly pushing into the base of Salamanders, destroying that armory, so at least trading out even for the turrets in the armory there. So mid lane is going to push strong for the side of Tilt Rehab. Oh, we've got Status and... Couple deaths down here.
Yeah, Status only had eyes for Jazzville. Takes that Celeste down. Archaic will drop next. Suddenly, there's no damage for Tilt Rehab, and the Salamanders can clean up from there. Very easy. And that's a huge win. That's 4 kills for them down there. Even though that did go, I believe the Ghostwing went over to Tilt Rehab.
Yeah, the Ghostwing did go over to Tilt Rehab, but unfortunately without Maokai there, without that divine intervention coming out of this Grace to keep Jazzville alive, he just got jumped on. And, you know, I touched on it earlier. Last game between Hammers and Vision, Celeste literally had no competition for damage. This time around with Xenotech and Status, that is not the case. We have 2 heroes that are very tanky, can dive into that backline and burst down that Celeste, and that's where Jazzville's struggling a little bit, is with Xenotech and Status, with the tension bow proc, and then just how tanky they are getting onto his face.
What's the play? I mean, what's he gonna do?
They gotta groove up together. You know, again, that Divine Intervention and Holy Nova are absolutely massive for Tilt Rehab and keeping this Celeste alive. That AoE stun onto both melee heroes can really swing a fight very quickly.
Let's see if they can find some lockdown, find a way to zone for the Celeste. I know that Jazzville can definitely apply the damage if given the opportunity. We saw that last fight getting isolated, Divine Intervention, keeping the Celeste alive almost long enough to turn it around, but not quite. Now Blacklaw being captured up. Tilt Rehab will move around the west side here. The Salamanders are grouped up. An interesting portal is going to go ahead and allow them to get onto the backline. Holy Nova finding the stun. Denominate making the call, but now they collapse onto Jazzville. Jazzville torn down. Esme getting ripped apart. Able to stay alive long enough to turn it. 3 for the Salamanders are down. They've got the focus and the fire. Archaic didn't go down. They have the damage to apply. Status will die on the backside of this fight. It looks like Mixi will be chased down on the top side of the fight. And are you kidding me?
Oh,
Rehab! You got this right? Status able to get one? That's godly. No way. No way. Who is this guy? Status, he plays like a guy I knew called Status Baked. Status Baked the god, but now he'll be collapsed on. That's going to be the Atlas Pauldrons. The hype has fallen. No, and block it off. He stays alive. Give him a Spectral Smite. Get him, Status. Oh, he'll even take a turret. What a god. It doesn't even matter. Have you ever seen a player that good?
While Status did drop, in the end, he was able to bring down Archaic and hold out the death timers long enough to not give the ace over to Tilt Rehab, which obviously would have spiked them up to full health. That being said, Tilt Rehab are now the ones with the Black Claw aggro.
Xenotech, interesting positioning. He'll get a heal and a fountain coming out, but Xenotech ticking down. Now Iraqi in that Drifting Dark moving forward, but really respecting Tilt Rehab. He's going to go ahead and pull off of that Wrecked. Dropping the sigils off cooldown right now. It doesn't seem enough to keep these guys in fighting shape when the burst starts to descend upon the Mixi. Moving forward, trying to land damage, but the Supernova exploding on the Salamanders. Celeste really coming into her own right now. Jazzville looking to throw the Helios over the wall. There is a scout cam down. Salamanders rotate, ring around the Rosie, ring around the Rosie. Grace is going to be able to get it now. Splash damage comes through, but it's wrecked to fall first. This is going to be the Samuel and the Vox staying alive. Status is here now. Status, go get him! Status! He's got the stun onto Jazzville. They take the Celeste down. Blacklaw's going to march down the lane, but Xenotech's respawn. He jumps on, and he'll be able to take down Esme. A 3-for-2 trade, and with that, the Salamanders will collapse back onto the Blacklaw. Should be only 1 turret going down, if that.
Yeah, and Iraqi played that near perfectly in that fight. dropping that Drifting Dark, kiting around the outside of Blackclaw's pit there. Now, he wasn't able to get the steal, but we saw those massive empowered Malice and Verdicts coming through and absolutely ripping through the health bars of the side of Tilt Rehab. The Divine Intervention had already been used by Maokai, so they didn't have that additional healing, and it resulted in Salamanders picking up a couple kills off the back of Rehab, actually getting that Blackclaw. So as long as we keep getting coordinated fights and takes coming out of Salamanders, I do think they can maintain control in this game. But now with Celeste at such a scary state and Archaic picking up a broken myth for himself as well, these fights really can go either way. We have to see clean execution coming out of the side of Salamanders. If they portal in and they're able, the side of Tilt Rehab are able to get a full team core collapse and Holy Nova again, then it's going to be rough for the side of Salamanders.
I mean, that's literally how I'm seeing it right now, Daynoms. It's just like, Holy Nova connects on 1 or 2 key targets, it's easily turned around. Archaic lives, it's easily turned around. But the Salamanders, they have the potential to burst down these key targets. They've showed it over and over again. And wouldn't you know it, this overall net worth is still quite close 19 minutes in.
Yeah, still pretty close. We do have a little bit swinging in favor of Tilt Rehab right now. Again, we do have Armory for Armory. We have 3 turrets remaining on each side of the map. So very close. And this is really the vainglory we like to see, right? We don't want to see that massive snowball. We like seeing the games that are very even back and forth. And it's so much more exciting. So these two teams really putting up a fight. And you know, realistically, still could go either way. We have to. There's a clear win condition for the side of Salamanders. They have to get a clean execution, getting into that back line and bringing down the Celeste. Versus Tilt Rehab, they really just got to tank up that front line. They really just have to peel a little bit for Celeste and really let Jazzville come through with the carry.
Yeah, it feels like Tilt Rehab are like the Spartan fighting force, right? Like they're gonna allow the Salamanders to like clash into them, survive that initial burst, and if they're able to survive that, they just push forward, just decimating, slowly taking down the Salamanders, and there's nothing they can do. Once Tilt Rehab survives that initial jump in, because Status is then isolated, right? He's very vulnerable. If Rekt portals himself forward, he's vulnerable as well, and they really have to focus Heroes down. So it does lead to a very interesting kind of team fight, though.
Yeah, and you know, realistically, I do want to make a point about you saying Rekt aggressively portaling in. That has been a case for a majority of those arcane passages, but the real problem has been is the team hasn't been quick to follow up, and when they have, it's been the wrong targets going through first. We've seen a couple where Iraqi Zoro is the first one through the portal, and that's super risky for your mage, who really is going to be your hyper carry on the team.
It is indeed.
Blackclaw back on the map now. Anybody's chance to take that one. Here comes Rekt.
They all go through incredibly quickly. This time Esme pulls up for the verse. He'll catch one stun, another stun coming on through, and Xenotech about to fall, but the lifesteal able to keep him alive with the fountain. Mixi, though, getting taken down. A Holy Nova, a little bit off the mark. They've taken out Status. Mixi, Xenotech as well. They survived the initial burst. A lot of splash damage coming out. He's going to be getting 2. Iraqi Zoro making that Samuel work. Rekt still alive here with Iraqi. They'll move forward because Ali Peterson and Maokai both low. Portal forward, another Drifting Dark, the Divine Intervention, but he gets held in place and taken down. Can the Malice and Verdicts connect here? Not quite onto the Heroes. They're going to be ranged to get a little more damage done. Is there anything they can do here? What are they going to be doing?
It looks like Iraqi Zoro and Rekt might just be looking for the kills here.
It feels like a bold call, but they're getting work done. Ali tanking up a lot of damage here.
Here comes the teleport
another
boots.
heal. Say what, bud?
Teleport boots. Mixi's here.
Yeah, the parts forward. Suddenly, a massive advantage. Will they be able to stay alive if they can get back to the healing platform? Where's the CCs? Where's the lockdown? What a strategy. What a slimy, slippery, salamandery strategy. Coming out here to find the GG. 22 minutes in.
Great play there at the end. The whole team sells their boots, picks up those travel boots, ports in, ending the game. Archaic almost made the God plays, almost teleport boots to the minions that were in the Salamander's base. With the death timers the way they were, he may have been able to close out the game if he would have been able to make it out alive. Just falling shy though. Iraqi Zoro and Rex turning that fight around. Slimy Salamanders with an excellent performance at the end of that game.
That was unbelievably beautiful. I can't believe I ever doubted these guys. Pretty phenomenal stuff. We'll have to see what the desk has to say about that one.
Well, there was a lot of oohing and ahhing here in the studio over that last one. Let's walk us through that, guys.
That was definitely some back and forth action. You got to feel for Tilt Rehab. They had the lead the entire game. Brilliant split push by Esme earlier on to get that armory. Doesn't look like the Tilt Rehab that they got after their TSM loss last week paid off. They're going to have to go back one more time.
Yeah, I mean, this is their second really rough defeat, too. Like, such a close game that they've had now 2 25-plus minute games. 2 of, I think, the 3 total 25-plus minute games that we've had in the preseason now are losses that Tilt Rehab has suffered. So definitely not going to be feeling great after this one. But what a call here at the very end from the side of Slimy Salamanders.
Yeah, Iraqi Zoro telling his team, hey, put a scout cam down. You guys buy teleport boots, sell whatever you need to, teleport in. There's still enough time left on those death timers for them to easily come in, clean up the game. There's nothing you can do about that. Tilt Rehab, you gotta feel for them.
Yeah, really, really rough. But again, it was kind of a situation that Slimy Salamanders almost shouldn't have been in to begin with, having to make a call like that.
Yeah, definitely agree. Little bit of sloppy objective control earlier on into the game. They started off things really well. The lead shifted over into the favor of Tilt Rehab. Got to clean it up around the edges if they want to compete with the top teams in this North American region.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what strategies come out of that last game. But before we get into our next matchup, we want to remind you to follow us on our brand new Instagram account. It's the only place to see behind-the-scenes stories, awesome moments from VPL, and you can follow us at Vainglory Esports. And speaking of exciting and new, let's take a look at the brand new home for the studio coming out this June.
Go Studio in partnership with ESP Gaming, the name behind the Vainglory Premier League. A state-of-the-art, multi-million-dollar showplace, streaming lounge, and the most advanced tech to bring you mobile esports like never before. Welcome to the new home for the Vainglory Premier League.
All right, well, let's preview our last match of the day, and this is going to be a doozy of a match because it's between Tribe and Rogue, who have a lot of history between the squads. Now, can you actually walk us through some of that, Tasty?
Yeah, there is a lot to digest here. It depends on how far back you want to go, but immediately the first one was at the end of last year. You know, it came down to that last world spot, a wild card spot. The decision was really needed to be made between Tribe and Rogue. Because the wildcard spot was based on the entire body of work for the whole year, the decision did go to Tribe. Obviously, they ended up going on to win the entire World Championship. They also, Rogue beat Tribe in Week 2 of Split 2. Like, they had the head-to-head, but Tribe coming back later on in the season with a clutch win, kind of securing themselves that wildcard spot.
Rogue definitely not happy with losing that World spot. Could be the rivalry in a making. I think we're going to be able to see a little bit of a highlight from yesterday's matchup. It is going to be Tribe. Dienzio on this Gwen looked so good. Not a pick, dude. It's very conventional. Definitely surprising to see on the desk, but he absolutely made it work.
Yeah, and this was Tribe really cleaning up their gameplay from the previous week. You know, even though they didn't lose, they still were able to make this much cleaner, a much quicker game than what we had seen out of them in week number 1, and they're going to look to keep that momentum riding. But look at the other side, Rogue, they were a team that came in looking very strong and then had a very, very shaky game yesterday.
All right, well, lots of history there, but let's go to the draft right now for the picks and bans.
So we do see Lyra and Tony getting taken off the board immediately. So no real surprises in those two picks. Samuel has been the priority for North America over the Celeste. So, you know, I guess while it is somewhat of a surprise coming into today, at this point, it's really not much of a surprise anymore.
Yeah, definitely. Samuel's so strong. I think something that might be shifting him, especially in North America, is they're trying to make that transition into more aggressive gameplay. I think Samuel ramps up a little bit quicker than Celeste does, has the longer range earlier on into the game. The splash damage really hard to deal with. Rogue picking up the Kestrel though, something that I'm sure they'll be comfortable with. And we're gonna see Evol once again on that Celeste. He's looked very good on it. Hopefully he'll be able to continue that here today.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see when a team picks or bans the Celeste away from Rogue, force Evol onto a different hero, because this is now his third game as a mid laner, his third game on Celeste. So obviously that's the pick he's most comfortable with. So if that's what you want to play, if that's what you're comfortable with, and you're able to get it, you might as well take it.
Yeah, I'm a huge Evol fan myself. His mechanics, absolutely amazing. I've really enjoyed watching his transition from the captain. He's no longer a captain in 5v5. He is now in that mid lane position. Rogue not wanting to deal with the Gwen on Dienzio today, going ahead to ban it away from them.
Yeah, Idris had already been picked up by Tribe, so that's another one of these really strong late game heroes that can take a little bit of time to ramp up. We'll have to see if Rogue are going to try and build to counter that. If they look to try and get these heroes that can get into the lane, something like the Krull, something like a Rona that can go toe-to-toe against that Idris early on and try and shut him down.
Absolutely, and Idris going to be a strong pick. Taking Reza out of the equation. Little surprised to see that ban coming out of the side of Tribe. I would have thought that they would have wanted to use it to their advantage to try and get onto the backline of Rogue. If Rogue doesn't take Taka right here, I would be shocked if Tribe does not pick it up, and that is a huge counter to both Celeste and Kestrel.
Yeah, both the Taka and the Alpha are available, and both very strong heroes. Obviously, we know the junglers from Tribe. Whether it's going to be I Love Joseph, who is their starting jungler, or T-Tiger stepping in. Again, this is something we talked about when we first saw the Tribe roster, is you have T-Tigers as a substitute who can fill in for you. That is an insanely stacked roster, so it really doesn't matter which one of those two is actually starting the game. They're going to have a phenomenal performance.
Definitely a testament as to why Tribe has the deepest roster probably in the world right now. Looks like Max Green is going to be playing that utility-based Grace again. I would probably assume at this point, because they didn't pick up the Taka or the Alpha, that it is going to be a jungle Idris, same thing as we saw yesterday, and he's gonna have a lot of healing coming out of both the Grace and the Adagio.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen this jungle Adagio do great things, which is a little unconventional. You typically, especially a Crystal Idris in the jungle, you want to see it get punished. It's open to being punished because it is very vulnerable. But obviously Tribe has been able to make it work. And now over on Rogue, they're going to grab that Sky. Sky's a hero that we talked about early in the day. Hasn't really come up since then, but it is one of the highest win rate heroes, the highest win rate hero coming into today across any hero that has been picked at least 5 times.
Yeah, they're sitting at about an 83% win rate. Definitely talked about how if it's picked in the right scenarios, it can be a very effective pick. I don't know if necessarily this is the right scenario. We'll kind of see how it gets played out. There's not a whole lot that you're going to be out maneuvering on the side of Tribe. They're going to be playing from a distance anyways, especially if that's a CP Idris as well. So I'll be interested to see, do they go the Crystal route, or do you think they go the weapon route on the Sky?
I think right now the Crystal route is the way to go, because the weapon route is really good when you have targets like a Krull, a Rona, an Alpha, heroes that run at you. Whereas that's not what Tribe has. So you want the damage to be coming out from the Sky. Instead, using the Death from Above as a zoning tool.
Wow.
And that's going to be a Lorelei. So triple potential captain for the side of Tribe. And we did see them run that Grace yesterday with the full tank with a Shattered Glass at the end. Could very well see that again today.
Definitely an interesting composition, not one we have seen in either region in terms of how focused they're going to be on protecting the carries. We had 2 great assassins come out in that final ban phase. Saw definitely one of Louis Vuitton Don's specialty heroes. We've not seen it yet in competitive play. Fully expect him to see him on that today. Very excited for
one
that.
of only, I believe, 6 heroes that we have not seen in the preseason thus far, so that number is going to be dwindling a little bit further. I'm excited to see what the Saw can do.
That's really cool. We got something new on the field. But in this hotly contested match coming up, who are the players to watch? Let's go to Flash first.
On the side of Tribe, it should absolutely be Dienzio. Dienzio looked absolutely phenomenal yesterday on that Gwen. Was doing so much damage with those buckshots from the back line. Anytime Vision was caught out of position, he was stepping up and just chunking them down super hard. Even when Lightning T tries to come down for rotation right there, Dienzio absolutely punishes him, drops the Ace's Eye, stuns him, picks up a very easy kill. That's definitely why he's going to be the player to watch on the side of Tribe.
Yeah, one of the veterans of the Vainglory scene. Even though he's only 15 years old, he has been around as long as just about everyone in the scene. So definitely one of the strongest players. But over on the side of Rogue, I'm going to be keeping my eye on Sibs. I almost want to change it to Louis Vuitton because of the Saw pick, but we are going to be looking at Sibs largely because this is one of these guys that needs to step up and be one of the big playmakers for Rogue. When Rogue was at their best, it was because of Evol and Sibs both playing at the top of their game, and he needs to be able to continue to do that. Yesterday, he was playing this Crystal Aftershock Arden and really just didn't do anything with it. I didn't like the build decision. I didn't like the way it was played. It was just really felt off. He didn't look comfortable with that pick and that play style. So I want to see him get back to what he knows, what he's best with. And if he's on this Samuel, I have said for a while now, Sibs is one of the best Samuels in the game.
Mechanics aside, Sibs is one of the most positive people I know in the entire Vainglory community. Seriously, anyone who talks about Sibs, he's one of the most friendly person, always putting a smile on teams' faces. Regardless of how the game is going, he maintains that attitude, tries to bring everyone up, keeps their composure, and definitely going to be an important factor in their game here today.
I really love that. All right, but the game is underway, so we are going to send it over to Humanist and Denomine.
Thank you very much one more time from our panel. This is our third match of the day. We've got Tribe versus Rogue, and of course, Mr. Positivity on the map, Sibs himself. I felt like defending him myself as Bacon tearing into my boy a little bit, but Flash had the defense there to nominate.
Yeah, absolutely. Sibs definitely going to be a player to watch out for here in 5v5. It's a whole new game for him. Quite often in 3v3, we saw him getting stuck in the jungle, and I feel like he's such a stronger laner. Obviously, not going to be the case here, but we'll see what ends up happening.
I feel like Sibs is the kind of guy that could just do whatever he wanted to. He's one of the few guys that I actually got to try to play the lane Ozo. and it went back in 3v3 days.
Of course, of course.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'd like to see some lane Ozo in 5v5. That Carney luck and the healing from his 3-ring circus could be pretty sustainable.
Missed opportunity and sustainability is what we're all about. Assume positive intent as Sibs goes down first here. Nice first blood for Tribe, and Jason hanging around. He's gonna have to use those boots, and that's kind of a bummer to have those on cooldown for such a situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And here early on with the tier 1 boots, that is a long cooldown as well. So going to be down for quite a bit there. Dienzio looking to pick up the weapon Adagio this game. And Max Green does look like we're going to see the weapon Grace, but up against the Saw in the top lane, one of Louis Vuitton Don's signature heroes, might be struggling to keep that turret alive here in the next couple minutes.
Dude, talk to me about that. Like, how is the Grace supposed to deal with the Saw when he starts really actually pumping out some damage? He's going to need some help, right?
Yeah, definitely going to need to see the rotations up. You know, again, probably going to be coming here out of I Love Joseph, going to be on that jungle Crystal Idris. Once he gets those 5 crystal bits online, that Chakram actually does a substantial amount of damage, as well as the basic attacks will also inflict that crystal damage, about 80% I believe it is right now. So that can be huge for the team as well. Old School here on the Samuel, this is one of the picks that he's done really well on in the mid lane, and I expect to see him really be able to abuse the Churnwalker, who's going to be the only front line.
We'll see. Don't like to see my Churns getting abused, but we'll see how that one plays out. Gave it a little just on that babysit mission here, a little splash down, making Old School's life easy. All calm across the map here. Is this going to be a game where these guys want to just farm it up, or they wait till that pressure does come out of Saw before they start to make those rotations?
Saw is at a fairly pressuring point right now, just with the heavy steel and that Book of Eulogies. He's picked himself up a minion candy to go with it, but the rest of the team is really going to take some time to scale up, and I think that's why the Saw pick makes a little bit of sense here. If they can start getting turret objective in the top early, they can start making more rotations into the other lanes. However, if Saw is unable to have that effect, they might struggle a little bit to get to the late game, because Tribe, they have a much heavier mid-game spike.
Okay, but Rogue have actually moved Sibs up here with Louis Vuitton on, and they're applying a lot of pressure onto the turret already. Every time Max walks in range, he's getting attacked multiple times. He's dropping low, and it doesn't appear that there's a rotation moving quite just yet.
No, not yet, and they haven't been able to hammer a bunch of damage down on that turret yet. It has taken a little bit, but, you know, that's not getting gold in your pocket. So Saw making his rotation now into the jungle, probably trying to look for his healing camps and clean those up for that a little additional experience and gold. I'm interested to see if he goes with the Serpent's Mask first or goes right into the Sorrow Blade and really tries to push that issue at the top lane.
What would you like to see and why?
I would like to see that Sorrow Blade just to really put the hurt on Max Green. Louis Vuitton has a level advantage right now. Max Green just now ticking over to level 4. Meanwhile, Louis Vuitton about a quarter of the way to level 6. So he has a huge advantage just due to the range and attack speed. And with this Captain Wave coming, he does not have that minion candy, but he can still get some hurt on this turret.
The bottom turret's going to go down first as Zio and Joseph able to apply a little bit more pressure than even the Saw. Louis Vuitton's going to stand his ground. Holy Nova connects, delaying the inevitable. So what it seems here, Sibs clearing out this healing camp as well. But they're going to take that away. Louis Vuitton can hang around a little bit here. Max not able to stall it out, but turret's going down on both sides of the map.
Yeah, so 1-for-1 trade, not the worst case, and considering the Saw is up in the top lane. So Max Green, while he does lose out on his turret, he'll be able to hold the wave back a little bit further and farm up a little bit more safely now, and that is going to get him the opportunity to get a build online. Probably going to be going into a Serpent's Mask breaking point build, it being a lane grace, but we will have to see how that goes. Sibs cleaning up this weapon Treant here, and that's going to make those ganks all the more dangerous here for the Crystal Kestrel in the jungle. And now we've got a rotation down towards the mid lane, and Sibs, he's at a fairly decent damage spike where he can put down a lot of pressure.
He can, but they're gonna have to control the vision. I mean, I guess you can just rain down glimmers, but it's pretty obvious and easy to avoid. A lot better if you can kind of sneak up on a group, especially just getting some active camos down. Louis Vuitton Don's made the rotation over to mid. With that, Tribe are gonna go ahead and fan out across the map. Maybe just send their Adagio down towards bottom. So Zio's going to split away from the team, but the rest of Tribe's still staying as 4.
Yeah, Evil took a ton of damage from that Chakram coming out of I Love Joseph. Ghostwing now landed. River Shops are available as well as of a minute ago. And now Tribe, early aggression here onto the Ghostwing just landed, and they're already starting that one up. But here comes Rogue.
Here comes Rogue. A little bit of a zone coming out here. Zio trying to zone with the damage coming out. It looks like Ghostwing definitely going to be captured up, and Tribe happy about that. Rogue not able to make any rotation. Or in fact, it felt like maybe they could even be caught there. In the meantime, it's Jesus just hanging out in top lane, just kind of shoving that lane forward, getting as much farm as possible.
Yeah, he's looking to do so. Obviously, going to try to get a shop in here. He's got about 900 gold, so picking up that breaking point, I would think.
My goodness, Jason just getting hammered. 3 damage sources coming from range there, and they just take him down. He's not able to kite back.
Yeah, definitely is going to be difficult. Rogue making a aggressive rotation here, taking away some jungle, so really smart play out of them. However, Tribe, they do have about a 3,000 gold lead right now, so they've got to be feeling pretty comfortable. And without Jesus having that breaking point yet, it's really not going to be any potential for him to get a kill here on Max Green. So he's just going to go ahead and clean up the farm. Saw has gone down into the bottom lane now, so Jesus and Louis Vuitton switching that up.
It feels like this is not the position that the Saw really wants to be in this game. Having turrets down on his side, having not too many down on his opponent's side. They don't really have forward vision where it allows him to make movements and feel safe about it.
No, you're absolutely right there. This is a point of the game where Saw is going to struggle a little bit. They weren't able to get an advantage early. While he did get that turret, they lost out on 2 in the bottom. So really not favorable for the side of Rogue as of this point. It's really going to come down to Evol being the hyper carry for this team, as well as Sibs trying to help poke out some of that front line.
Well, they got that Shatter. They got the Saw pretty close in range here, just waiting for a wave before they start raining down on this turret. They have the damage to quickly take down objectives at this point. Sibs zoning for his team. Tribe respecting that thus far. It's pretty nice. Gabe Bizzle on this lure light can just drop that splash down in and around that turret. You can easily be within range and back into a defensive position much quicker.
Yeah, that speed boost is definitely nice, as well as Gabe Bizzle historically very good at landing those fish foods, specifically hitting multiple targets with that stun, so we'll have to keep our eyes on him. May be the one to help set up some plays for Joseph and Old School.
Sibs connecting on a lot of these glimmer shots, but I'm not sure that they have vision down on both sides of the mid lane there, so there's going to be really no surprises. But down in bot, a lot of damage coming out. Louis Vuitton Don almost getting taken down. If Zeal moves forward, he might be able to get a kill here. One right click, baiting out the healing flask, the reflex as well. Thaw's going to stay alive, but the turret goes down. Dienzio and Joseph able to make a little magic happen down there.
Yeah, just a couple right clicks shy there. But Louis Vuitton gonna make it out alive, gonna go ahead and recall, top himself off. He does have that weapon buff, so if he gets a chance spun up to get onto somebody, he can potentially put down a lot of damage. But you know, unfortunately, Serpent's Mask first, being forced back in the lanes at this point, he's not really having a massive impact.
Debated! They got debated over. They pulled him to that side. They didn't have vision there, and Evol is gonna get taken down. Oh no, Jason as well. Tribe, what a play, man. I hope everybody witnessed that. I hope we had the camera there.
Yeah, absolutely. Tribe setting that one up quickly and easily. Joseph, again, huge spike out of the first item, Shatterglass, coming out on those chakrams. But now Sibs and Louis Vuitton, they're looking for that mid turret, and they're going to get it.
They'll be able to get that, but it's going to be a Ghostwing capture up there for Tribe. Now, Max Green finding a couple key targets over here. Now, can Jesus do anything at this point? It still feels like he's just still in farm mode.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Weapon Sky, while it can be a huge threat if you get ahead, again, they are just sitting too far behind at this point, sitting down about 6,000 gold, with only the Poison Shiv, not having a breaking point. There's never really a clean moment where Jesus is just really going to be able to scale into that, oh my god, Sky is destroying the enemy team kind of situation.
Where you can't run away like once the first attack comes through.
Right, exactly. We don't have that level of threat like we do out of Dienzio right now.
Sibs one attack away from getting dropped here by Gabe and Old School in mid. What happened?
Joseph, one chakram over the wall, cleans up the kill onto Evol, and now Dienzio is looking for more if he can find him.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage, though. He's going to have to get back here. A little Suri forward, though. He's going to stay alive. What a turnaround. Perfect water wall timing. Now Joseph able to find another kill, taking down Sibs. Rogue crumbling here in their base. Dienzio is going to buff himself moving forward here. Splashdown, very forward positioning as they'll walk right into a Solar Storm. Reconsidering the positioning, now blocking off the stun as they move back into a safer area. Looks like that'll be the retreat coming on through, but tons of aggression out of Tribe.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good plays coming out of them. Meanwhile, Max Green finally taking the opportunity to try to force down this top lane turret, and with the opposition of Rogue nowhere near, he's going to be able to get that one, add some more gold into the team's pocket, add some more control into the objectives to his team's side, and that's a really good 7-0 push here by this side of Tribe.
Tribe making it happen. 12 minutes in. We'll see how long Rogue can hold out, if they can even turn this one around, because that net worth really starting to pile up at this point. It feels like a really dangerous position to be in.
Yeah, it definitely is. Evol, he has now got the Spellfire online, but again, we don't really see the 1v5 threat until the Clockwork's online. Here we go, Tribe's picking another one, though.
Let's see, have Rogue kind of pinned in here. Max Green wants to be on the front side of the fight, but took a lot of damage Not exactly where you want the Churnwalker to be either. Want to have everybody hook and chained up on the front side, but he's low. Max will jump in. Sibs taking a lot of damage. You got to get back. Trying to kite back. It's not enough. He'll go down. They'll lose Jason next. That's 3 down for Rogue. Evol, all he can do is stand his ground and pray. Louis Vuitton Dawn wrecked. And that'll be the ace coming through for Tribe.
That's likely going to be the game for Tribe as well, as Dienzio's already hammering in the damage onto that Bane Crystal, and here comes the rest of Tribe. So in the end, it's going to be Tribe remaining, I believe, undefeated here in the preseason.
Wow, dominating performance coming out. I mean, we know this squad is pretty amazing at Vainglory, and a lot of high expectations just here in the preseason alone. Really putting it together, fun draft, and well executed.
Almost like their whole team might have been Worlds competitors, and some of them even winning in that first place at Worlds. So maintaining control over this game, 12-0 victory, 10,000 gold lead in just 13 minutes.
Maintain control, maintain hope, Rogue. We love you. We'll go ahead and throw it back over to the desk. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks so much to Humanist and Denominate for calling all those games. Wow. Wow. Please talk us through what just happened.
Tribe stepping it up big time from their week 1 performance. Much better macro play. You saw it about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. They were already setting up for the Ghost Wing. They knew that all of Rogue was alive. Rogue could have contested it, but they were so comfortable and so decisive and going for that. That set the tone for the entirety of the rest of the game.
Yeah, and the second time today that we had a near perfect game, only 2 turrets preventing Tribe from having that perfect game here. But look, this is right what you were talking about. You know, they grab the Ghost Wing immediately, not even 6.5 minutes. They have the Ghost Wing captured. They immediately look for a fight. They know that they have the advantage because of that Ghost Wing take, and just start rolling on through from here on out.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of these kills, absolutely crucial. Setting the tone, they then rotate off the back of that, grab some turrets, extend their gold lead even further. And once Ghostwing even came back up the second time, they took it again immediately, and they just continue to play that macro game, and that is such a key component to 5v5.
A really beautiful game. So we have just completed week 2 of the VPL Preseasonal Invitational. Let me ask you guys, we saw some great play from both sides of the pond, but can you walk us through what happened with the EU?
Yeah, and over in Europe, we had a couple of, relatively expected results, I'd say. Team Queso taking down Wolves Esports. Obviously, Rising Lotus with the victory over Equinox, and Clash also taking down Salty Potatoes. That was a really exciting matchup because the undefeated, 2 undefeated teams going head-to-head, and so it is Clash that are going to be up on top. But there's a little bit of excitement, over in Europe especially. Tyra's tweeting out, it's fun to play competitive matches again, but I can't wait for the real season to start. There's just so much more tension when there's something on the line. And also, the production studio teasers look very promising. I can agree with pretty much everything in there. The tension, the new production studio, cannot wait.
On the other side of the pond, Vision Gaming taking down Hammers Esports to grab their first win this season. Slimy Salamanders continuing their dominant run, moving on to 3-0. Tribe also staying clean, sitting at 3-0 as well.
Yeah, Tribe with a very dominant performance. But I think overall, the moment of the day, I think the moment that all of us enjoyed the best, came from that second game in North America, Tilt Rehab and Slimy Salamanders. It was Status with making the plays on Kroll that no one was expecting. We'll take another look at that now.
Esme getting ripped apart, able to stay alive long enough to turn it 3 for the Salamanders are down. They've got the focus and the fire. Archaic didn't go down. They have the damage to apply. Status will die on the backside of this fight. It looks like Mixie will be chased down on the top side of the fight. And are you kidding me? You got this right? Status able to get one? That's godly. No way. No way. Who is this guy? Status, he plays like a guy I knew called Status Baked. Status Baked the god, but now he'll be collapsed on. That's going to be the Atlas Pauldrons. The hype has fallen. No, and block it off. He stays alive. Give him a Spectral Smite. Get him, Status. Oh, he'll even take a turn. What?
Humanist with a phenomenal call there.
Big mood, guys. Big mood. But let's look ahead to week 3. What are we looking forward to?
I mean, there's so many matchups to start looking forward to. Now that we're starting to see teams facing each other again in some instances, Europe definitely shaking up. We're starting to see some of the the top 3 teams starting to become clearly defined a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. North America also stepping up massively compared to week 1 to week 2. The top teams definitely seem to understand that macro play. I would not be surprised to see a lot of those teams trying to catch up, struggling a little bit to follow suit, making sure they're going back, watching those VODs, studying them out. But the matchups for next weekend looking phenomenal.
Yeah, a couple of teams that are really going to be looking to bounce back, maybe make a rebound, or you start to get things going. Hammers Esports versus Rogue, both of those teams have been struggling, so this is a great opportunity for them to right the ship and get back on track.
Looking forward to seeing what happens next week. But before we say goodbye, it is time to announce who's receiving a free download of Maleen. Our winner is Overreacting, who will be awarded the brand new Vainglory hero free of charge for participating on our Twitter game using the hashtag VPL, hashtag Lightform, or hashtag Shadowform. So thank you so much for participating there. All right, so that is it for week 2. I'm Eric Ishii. I am here with Tasty Bacon and Flash X. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your amazing analysis. That was wonderful. We will see you next week for the VPL Preseason Invitational. Goodbye, everybody.